Welcome to Trevor Overload.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back. It's been another week. Welcome to my show. This is Trevor Swollen Node. I'm your host, the famous Jet Jackson. I'm a teenage CIA agent. Okay. Oh my god, that's a dark joke, man. That's a dark joke. Is this how we're really going to start it out? I guess so. But I will tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to curse. I'm going to be a good boy now. No cuss words, okay? So let's see how far I can make it before I throw one out. It's kind of like my ums and filler words, man, so I'm not doing it. You watch. Alright, let's get right into it. Story time. So I've told you in the past about how I had property growing up, and it's so cool. There's so many things that we did that were so cool on that property. And this one was so right outside like my parents' front door. You'd go right outside of a barbed wire fence, and there were rolling hills like right there. Like there was this nice big hill, and right behind it was this old piece of some kind of farm equipment that was just broken down, and it had been there for years. And we'd just stand up on the top of the hill throwing rocks at it. Tong! I mean, that was like, if you were bored at all, that's what you'd go and do. You'd go and stand on top of the hill and throw rocks at that thing. Just try to dent it, try to break anything you could. And it was all metal, so you weren't ever going to be able to break any of it. But it was fun to do. I mean, there was just a never-ending supply of rocks. And, you know, just why not practice your aim and throw it stuff in there? There are all kinds of gears and cool stuff like that on it. It's like this big old green, I forget exactly what it was. We ended up dragging it out of there later and taking it to a metal place and getting like $40 for it. So it wasn't even any valuable metal, but we would just stand up there and throw rocks. Anyway, for whatever reason, like we'd find leftover pieces of like sheet metal, and my brother and his friends started figuring out, oh, these are kind of slick. So they'd get on top of the hill, and it was a pretty good distance down, you know, and a pretty good slope. So they'd sit on a piece of sheet metal, holding onto the sides, no gloves, no nothing like that, just barehanding it, and you'd slide down the hill, right towards that big piece of machinery down there. And that was just, like when I think back on it, and I was talking to my older brother about this a little bit earlier, it was like we were living out the Calvin and Hobbes comic books, you know? They were always going out and having adventures in just the wilderness and stuff. And we kind of had that opportunity too. I mean, and that's what was so cool. If we had to go play outside, we had 40 acres to explore and rolling hills and all kinds of stuff we could do. So we would take sheet metal and slide down those hills. And it was awesome. I mean, getting those smooth runs, you just couldn't beat it, man. Where you weren't running into any rocks, you weren't running into any issues and stopping yourself. You were just sliding the whole way down. Oh, it was so cool. You would think I wouldn't have any fear of like snowboarding down mountains and stuff, but I just don't like getting hurt. So we would do that. Eventually we ended up getting a wagon. What are the red whatever wagons? And sit in those, and you know, you could kind of steer with the little handle on the wagon. And we'd go down hills on those too. They usually didn't last very long, these wagons, because we put the hurting on them, man. We'd tie them to bikes or ride them down hills with rocks and fall out face first and just dive and slide down the hills. I mean, God, to have a resilient kid's body, man, that was the best. One time, though, I recall, Travis and his buddy Kyle were trying to use multiple pieces of sheet metal at once. Start like a train of it. I don't know if they just wanted their own piece or what. But it ended up, there's another piece. Travis's piece, he was in the back, went and met the other piece. And Travis's hands slid over the other piece. And as the other piece of sheet metal slid under it, just sliced him to smithereens. Blood everywhere. He survived, though. We were all fine. We made it through. On that same hill, oddly enough, another story of Travis. I remember this so distinctly. We were, like, scouting materials to slide down the mountains or whatever we were doing. It was me, him, and his buddy Kyle. And this gigantic bee got stuck in Travis's hair. And I remember They're just like smacking it and trying to dig it out, and Kyle's like looking for it, and it starts like squirting shit out. It was just so weird. But yeah, that was cool to be able to slide down those mountains and just like, make up our own like Calvin games, man. That was fun. Anyway, not much more to say about that. That just popped in my mind, and God, that was fun. Just being able to go out and do that. I mean, we didn't have the traditional suburban neighborhood, we were out in the middle of the sticks. We didn't have really close neighbors because we all had long driveways and property because cows would graze and all that stuff. It was like farmland that nobody farmed, really. But yeah, we didn't have the traditional suburban neighborhood, so we didn't get to hang out with a bunch of neighbors and stuff, so we had to like figure it out and make our own fun. And that was the coolest part about having that property, is that we could make that fun and go out there and just make up little things to do. I mean, the mind of the youth, man. How I miss just those adventures and every day being a different one. That was very cool. All right, let's get into cool stuff as a kid. And that's kind of the reason I brought up the famous Jet Jackson in the intro, because I was thinking of Johnny Tsunami. God, I don't know if you guys remember the Disney movies, but these Disney movies in the late 90s, mid 90s, I don't know what it was, but they came out with like Brink, a roller skating movie, rollerblading, sorry, so cool. Johnny Tsunami, where he was snowboarding and surfing. These were just such cool movies, and they were just like made you want to do all this cool stuff when you were a kid. Just motivate you to skateboard and do all the cool stuff. But yeah, so Johnny Tsunami as a kid, I don't know if you guys remember it, but it was this kid in Hawaii who is surfing all the time with his dope uncle, and then moves to the snow for some reason. Probably his dad's working, or I don't know, teaching martial arts. Why do I think his dad was Chinese? His dad was obviously Hawaiian. What a stupid... I'm an idiot. Anyway, so yeah, and they moved to like a snowy area, and obviously you can't surf anymore. So Johnny figures out, or gets caught up with a crowd who start snowboarding, or is an outcast, and I don't know, they're talking shit to him about not being a snowboarder, right? So of course he starts learning it and becomes super dope at it. And dude, they had these beanies, man. You put these beanies on, and they had like the fake dreadlocks that come out of them. So sick. And I had one. I used to have one. It was black. I begged my dad for it. He had to order it out of a magazine for me. It was so dope. I forget the brand, was like Twisted or something like that, something cool. And I had the black beanie with the black and yellow dreadlocks, and I was too embarrassed and ashamed as a kid to wear it to school ever. I think I took it to high school once, and my buddy Nixa wore it all day. Shout out to you, Nixa. I remember that day. That was sick. Actually, that was the first time I got high and went to school. Oh shit. Okay, hey, you want to hear that story real quick? All right. Yeah, it must have been like 16, sophomore, I think, maybe a junior, getting it real heavy into the weed scene, and had a little bowl left over, put it in my dad's barn, and I decided, why not smoke it before school? What a great idea. So ended up getting lit up, put my beanie on, hiding myself, get on the school bus, walk to the back, just trying to play it off. I'm sure I was telling everybody because, as a kid, that's what you do. Ended up going to first period, and I had Spanish class, right? I go in there, I'm just keeping my head down. Teacher was an old dude. He didn't really care. So I'm just sitting there and trying to do my own thing. But I remember this conversation very clearly. This girl talking to the teacher about her family members, right? Because she's got like a bunch of Spanish-speaking folk in her family. And then she goes, and blah, 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 and my uncle, Uncle Tio, and I lose my mind. I just start guffawing, dude, because Tio means uncle. So I'm sitting there stoned out of my gourd, and I'm just like, you call your uncle uncle? And I just start dying. Nobody else is laughing. Nobody thinks it's funny but me. I don't know why nobody else is laughing. Uncle Tio, uncle, that's the stupidest thing I'd ever heard of. And I'm just dying. And so I ended up telling that story to my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law, and their kids now call me to this day Uncle Tio, because of that story. And obviously my name starts with T, Trevor. So they call me Uncle Tio, so I get to relive that all the time. Shout out to them for that. That's awesome. Anyway, Johnny Tsunami, Brink. So Johnny Tsunami, yes, he got into snowboarding. That really made me want to snowboard. I bought the beanie. It was the coolest thing ever. Brink was the other one. Brink I must have watched 50 times, dude. Every time it was on, I watched it. Rollerblading movie. Every kid has that time in life when they upgrade from skates to rollerblades, and you just think you're the flyest person ever. You're going to grind on all the rails and go backwards and do all the dope shit. I never did any of that, but loved that movie. They were like downhill racing, and the bad guy had like the snakiest, most evil face, hair like straight chopped to here, you know. And it was just so good. They had to train for the downhill course and ended up doing it, and I just loved it so much. So shout out to those old early Disney movies, dude. Those were fly. I've never seen any of those actors again, ever. So, well, you're not going to see the famous Jet Jackson again because, like I said, he offed himself, which isn't funny, but I also don't respect. So fuck suicide. If you committed suicide, you can't watch my show. Anyway, all right, let's get into cool stuff as an adult. What I was thinking of was changing your perspectives on stuff and changing your mindset and growing out of these ruts, these self-imposed ruts that we get into, you know? So obviously I did that with alcohol. I quit nicotine. And it was hard, but those were just little steps I needed to make. But personality-wise, and I think I've talked about this before, but I struggle a lot with this anger. I have this deep-seated anger, and some days I just get into this negativity bubble, and I don't know why. I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know really what's even causing it. But there are all these resources I can use. Like, I have all these books. People have given me books to check out and read, and I've had them, some of them, for years without even cracking a page. So I woke up the other day and go, I don't want to struggle with this anymore. While I'm waiting for an appointment to talk through these problems with somebody else, why am I waiting and struggling with this? So what I did was I cracked open one of those books and I started reading it. You know, and that's the little step you can take. That's what you can do as an adult. Nobody's telling you you have to stay stuck in these things and not taking any opportunity to move forward. So I have decided to start moving forward and taking these steps and getting myself to where I want to be. I don't want to be an angry bastard. I don't want to. I don't want to be an angry dirtbag that my kids are scared of, that loses his cool at any moment, that scares his wife. I don't want to be that guy. Who wants to be that guy? That is not how I want to garner respect in my life. So I'm taking the necessary steps. I'm trying to gain self-awareness, think about what I'm doing, think about why I'm in these mindsets, and turn them all around. And I'm going to use the resources that are out there that I have to do so, you know? And what's also cool as an adult is sticking to stuff. Like when you're a kid, you get these opportunities to do different things, and sometimes you don't always stick them out, you know? Your parents just let you kind of slide off, you know? You don't stick to karate because you don't like it. You don't stick to baseball because you've done a couple years and you don't want to anymore. But as an adult, you can really decide to stick to something, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. I mean, what's more powerful than putting your foot down and getting to where you want to be and changing yourself for the better? Especially for your family and for yourself, for your own heart, dude. I don't want to carry this anger. It can't be good for you. I can feel it. I can feel that it's not good for me. So I'm going to turn this shit around. I'm making better positive habits, and I'm going to do this. I can do this. And you get to witness it. So there you go. Okay, and now let's get into relevant today. So this one hit me hard because this kind of ties in with the last one, where I'm getting negative and I can't figure out why, you know? And what I want to talk about is this YouTube show I'm doing and how I just started chasing these numbers. and this addiction of social media. So I was never one. I go on Reddit and I browse, and who doesn't? It's so common these days. Everybody's on their goddamn phone. But since I started my YouTube show with the whole ideal that I am not going to chase subs and likes and comments and all this stuff. But then I find myself posting and just watching the numbers. Why isn't it going up? What am I doing wrong? Blah, blah, blah. Getting on all these subreddits. What can I do different? Trying to get everything out there. And dude, then I'm just sitting there wasting hours chasing what? That is not the point of what I'm trying to do. This show is not that. I don't want to get famous. I don't care about any of it. I don't want to sit here and read ads to you. I just want to come out and let my brain out and hopefully commiserate with some of you guys or share funny stories and, just give you a momentary glimpse into my mad mind or just relate with you, So I decided that I'm not going to get addicted to social media. I'm going to be aware of what it is doing to me, of the negativity it's causing me. And if that's the case, why would I be doing the show? Why am I going to introduce something to my life that makes my life even worse, or me even more angry, or me more negative for something that doesn't matter? It's insane. If you've got a YouTube show that you're trying and you're chasing all the numbers, it's not worth it, man. When you could be just having fun and putting these out, and you don't have to live by any rules. I was living by these self-imposed rules that I've got to do this, I've got to meet this number, I've got to go this amount of time. I always have to talk about these different things. It's like, no, I don't. I can do whatever I want. This is my show. If I decide to switch the format of it, I fucking will. I'm not going to sit and get addicted and chase Instagram followers and TikTok and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to post a short every day. I'm not going to live by self-imposed rules. I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to make this fun for me. Because if it's fun for me, it'll be fun to share it with you. And then I'll attract the people that I want to watch it anyway. So that's what I decided. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, everybody's favorite part, I'm sure. The outro, where you get to hear me sing. This week, because it's so popular right now, this week I decided to do one from Jelly Roll. The stupidest band name or whatever that I've ever heard. Can't stand it. I do like his songs. I do think he sounds fine, but can't stand the name of it. Anyway, this one, you probably know it. And it goes, I'm a lost cause. Baby, don't waste your time on me. I'm so damaged beyond repair. Life has shattered my hopes and my dreams. I'm a lost cause. Yeah. He's got that voice. Anyway. So my version. And guess what? I decided to go clean. In the vein of having a curse-free episode, I know I slipped a couple times, darn it, but in the vein of having a curse-free episode, I made a different one. Here we go. I love hot dogs. Baby, don't waste your time on greens. I eat so much, assume I'd be scared. I could shatter a scale with my teeth. I love hot dogs. Load 'em with all the chili and cheese till the bun cannot hold anymore. How do you think I got so obese? Shout out to you, Jelly Roll, for getting over your addictions of drugs and stuff. I think you're on Ozempic now trying to lose the weight, so props to you, man. But it's funny to me to watch a 400-pound dude sing about being addicted to drugs. So, had to change it. Shout out to you. That's my show. Thanks for coming back and watching. I'll be here next week. And don't forget, as always, praise the sun. Catch you guys later.